So I'll preface the meeting with, this month has been, a very interesting one. We've been dealing with illness in the office. I was sick, shortly after our last meeting, to the point where I was in bed for 2 days. And still have a cough, but I'm feeling better. Linda got it the next week. And then we had a week of fine. And then this week, Richard has it. And it's meter reading week. So I've been covering meter reading for the last 2 days. So just as a heads up, there's a few things that were supposed to be due this week, for this particular meeting, like the final approval of the budget that I've kind of made a decision just to push out for a month, just to so we can get caught up on everything. So changes to the agenda. I accidentally left in the photo for website. We're obviously not going to do that. We did that last month. And then the only other addition to the agenda is a quick executive session, just for an employee discussion. No decisions needed from it, just informing you guys of some information. No. You want to run the meeting? Or
yeah. So it's already open at 6:09. No public comments, no public here. Changes to the agenda. We just did that. And then review the minutes. November 12th. Everybody has had an opportunity to read them over. Pretty lengthy. I generally send these to James, and he will catch anything I might miss. The word close looks like dose.
Yes, I saw that. What? Like you're giving medicine, you know.
He's so much younger than me. Dosed out. I guess we can get a dollar sign instead. Come up 491,000. Oh, that was caught, but I guess it was missed.
There's that one.
This one up here. Yeah.
I caught the other one.
Yeah, that one for the one it was. Just a question from everybody. As I write the minutes, I tend to keep track of who makes the motions and seconds. And I don't know if that's necessary. If you guys want me to just say a motion was made, seconded, and all in favor, that's fine too, but I kind of just sort of.
I think it's more accurate if you identify the maker of the motion.
Okay. I think Pam used to do that too.
Because we,
I think Pam used to do that too. So does anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of the November 12th.
Second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Was there something that you caught in there? I heard a little,
There was a dollar sign in the financial report
okay,
right there. We're missing a dollar sign in front of the 491.
okay, all right. So
Not a huge change.
Um, yeah. Financial report. You have treasurer's report. John?
yeah, if you go to the statement of cash accounts, and see that our cash is looking a little better there
Yeah.
than it has the past few months. Maybe we're selling more electricity.
No, they hadn't cashed a $35,000 check yet.
Oh,
We're looking right now. I think we're at 42,000 in our account. About 6,000 outstanding. So so they've cashed that $35,000 check at this point.
so what we did last month is to try to pay down some of the VEPSA and keep our bank account a little lower.
Yeah, so by the guidance that you guys gave, Dawn and I, we wanted to keep our account over $10,000. So doing calculation, we had a $16,000 check, 16 and change, that was already written and approved. I sent that off, and that left us with a ability to pay about 35,000 or 35,000 exactly. So I asked John if he thought that made sense. It left us with like 12,000 in our account. And he said yes. And so we did send a $35,000 check to VEPSA on top of the 16. So altogether, I believe the VEPSA payment was $51,265.50 last month. So that's a pretty good chunk that we haven't paid that in a while. So that was good.
Yeah.
And
we'll do that again
this month.
every time we have an opportunity.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what I will say is the check, that $35,000 check is on the warrant for today. It's already been paid. It's already been cashed, but just so it's approved on a warrant, I have it included on this warrant.
Yeah.
And we'll do that every month. We'll approve it after the fact. Are you good with me? Okay. So the statement of debt account, and the VEPSA balance sheet, I requested VEPSA send me an updated aging, their aging receivables, just so we're matched up. I do this every 3 months or so, and so I did ask for them to send that to me. They had a few that I didn't have, so that's why I put draft at the top of this, because I want to go through it with them line by line and go, does this make sense? I haven't had an opportunity to do that yet, so I did include it, but I'm just not. I'm thinking they might have missed the check somewhere, and I just need to make sure. So that I did include that in that, and you'll see that once we get to the VEPSA balance document. But overall, our debt, obviously, it did go up. It's going to continue to go up until we have enough income to pay the debt. I did a calculation. So CDA, our actual power purchase is a CDA. That plus Project 10, which is our ownership that we have over the Swanton water plant. Between those two, our payroll and just kind of our required expenses, we're within usually about $2,000 at that point. That's assuming no outages, no bills whatsoever, other than just paying payroll and paying our regular bill. So just to give some perspective of how far we're off, that's what we're looking at. I was like, can I cut anything to make it so we could pay enough And they're really, you could never cut enough to pay our bill without, until we have the new more income coming in. Statement of receivables, it's this colored one. We had an interesting month. This month, we billed 84,000. It's actually, we've had a few adjustments. I believe I looked it up today. It's like 83,000, but it's close to 84,000, which is 10,000 over last year and about 10,000 over the month before in dollars billed. I honestly don't know. My hunch is I believe that it's the billing software is billing correctly versus Nemrick may or may not have been billing correctly, because this is the first month on the new system. We've worked the company we are working with has worked really hard to make sure our bills are accurate. And we used Nemrick. We were trying to verify through Nemrick, and we were finding that their calculations just didn't add up. They never have. And so there's a theory that we actually may have been underbilling. I can't say that definitively, but I saw this huge increase, and I went, well, that's really interesting. We have sent out bills. They're due on the 25th of this month. I'm sorry, they're due on the 15th of this month, so 5 days. We've had maybe 2 or 3 bill errors that we have found. For example, Riggs Disler's office did not have a multiplier. There's some meters that have a multiplier that says for every kilowatt, it's actually 80 kilowatts. And that's what theirs is. It didn't have that multiplier, so that was wrong. We have adjusted it since. So there's a few bills that we have that, but I haven't had any customers come to me and say their bill is wrong, that they're being overbilled or anything like that. So so far it looks really good. And obviously our hopefully our income might be a little bit higher. We'll see if that continues to trend that way in future months.
That has nothing to do with the increase.
That has nothing to do with the increase. The increase won't go in until this month. The meter reading we're doing right now is the first ending reading on the we do have our budget. We are very close to being at budget for the year. We're about 30,000 from being there. We have expenses that are being voted on today that are not included in this. As I said, there's going to be some adjustments that I want to make in the budget for next year, seeing how this all plays out. Big things, maintenance of lines are over budget. There's actually some line extension work that's included in that I'm going to have to filter out with Mary Lee. Green Mountain Power is obviously over budget at its 70,000 for the year. 25,000 of that was that's this one, sorry. 25,000 of the Green Mountain Power was just the accident down the road. So just keep that in mind. Meter reading labor is over budget. We're going to have to adjust for that for next year. Telephone expense is over budget, but that was expected due to changing the telephone systems and things like that. We had to pay some fees to consolidate it, which was fine. For the most part, everything else is fairly explainable, understandable. The JEC truck expense is over budget with the new truck purchase that we had to make at the beginning of the year. That's pretty much where we're at for budget. Feel free to continue to look through that as needed. Just let me know when you're ready and I can move on to the next balance. are still just coming off the roof.
Mhm.
I've been hearing it all day.
How long do you keep a line item in?
Um,
No longer relevant.
I actually think they should be deleted. I think they have to stay. They have to ask Mary Lee on it. I think it has to be in there for 5 years after it's used the last time. I did ask about deleting them. She didn't seem too interested in deleting them.
Okay.
What I should do is on that report, I can exclude zeros and that would solve it.
Oh,
A lot. I can just make a self-defense job.
when we get, well, we have the new software,
Yes.
but, kind of reports are we gonna get?
So this will be the same because we're actually gonna be using Nimerick for everything other than the billing. So the billing will be the only thing that changes. There's just the one module within Nimerick. That's gonna be going to the new software, or is in the new software.
Does the cost of NIMRIC change because of that?
Should get a little cheap. I mean, we pay $6,000 a year. I think,
Right.
for Nimerick.
I
So
think that's
we
kind
might-
of the standard.
yeah, we may get 1,000 because we're using one less module. I don't know.
Yeah,
We paid for it for one more year, so we'll have it through, I think it's October of next year, just because we had to
right.
continue to have it, just for the transition. But then the billing, the accounting, the accounts payable, general ledger are all still going to be in Nimerick. So this will still stay the same.
Okay.
The only report that you'll see that's different is the aged receivables. Once we get to that, you'll see if it's different.
Outstanding website.
So outstanding VEPSA looks like this. This, as I said, it seems way longer and seems like it has more invoices than I thought we were going to have. It's only about $13,000 off, so it's not like a crazy amount, but I do want to go through and verify with them. It's a little different this month. If you remember, the column on the right-hand side was a check number. But this month, because I paid a partial, I wanted to say how much was paid. So I put amount paid at the top. And so you can see most of these are full amounts. So the total due is zeroed out. But the one that we took the $35,000 from is now $29,000 that's remaining on that particular invoice. So total due is $493,294. As I said, there's a $13,000 difference between what I had and what they had. I want to go through and just verify that with them, and hopefully we'll continue to be able to pay, in that 50,000 range. Will keep us
So that 51,000 is what was paid this month.
correct.
To this one.
And we got bills, I believe it was $65,000 last month, and we paid 51. So in theory, if we continue to do that, we still will be behind by about 14,000 a month. So even as I said, even if we had everything we could right now, we just aren't paying enough.
Yeah.
Once we send out our new bills in December 25th, or maybe before December 25th, we'll send them. December 25th bill will be the first one on new rates, and hopefully that'll be enough to boost us a little bit.
At least get even.
So this is a bill,
The 68.
68,000. And
Why
the
didn't I
60
pay out of the January one?
Yes,
I got this question from Vepsa too. We already printed and approved a warrant for that $68,438.17. I have a check for it. So I didn't want to void that check out and have to reprint a new one. We're getting billed interest the same between the two. So I just took it out of the January one and kept the $68,000 check. That, eventually we may void it out. I just didn't do it this month. It didn't.
How long
really
is it
matter.
good for?
They are good for 12 months, technically ours. They don't have the 90 days or
Okay.
120 day on it. So, and I did ask our auditors earlier this year if it matters, if we have outstanding checks at the end of the year, if we have a check that's printed, and they said it doesn't matter. They just they just remove it and then add it back in for the
Yeah.
following year. So won't matter at the end of the day. Whenever you're ready. let me know.
Okay. Yeah, review and sign payables, those coming to us, and then review and sign payroll. And then we need to make motions to approve those, correct?
Correct. So, big things, obviously a $35,000 check has already been paid and cashed. That's the big one at the top. Fuel expense, have the credit card charges, which was, I had to buy paper towels, I had to buy a binder. Linda was having back issues. I'm sure you guys know Linda has some back issues in general. She was having pretty severe back issues one day in the office, and I sat down in her chair and it was like a board, like literally a board. So I did go buy her a new chair. It was $120, but just to give some perspective, I do have the old chair. It's over there somewhere. It's a blue chair. Oh, maybe it might be out here. Feel free to sit in it. It was pretty rough. I had one purchase at the post office for um, uh, a certified letter to Pam Peterson in hopes that she would pay her bill. She has not so far. Then we have our 24-hour receptionist. I have a couple of jackets that I had purchased in hopes of having logoed something for Richard to wear because, as I said, he has the t-shirts, but this time of year you can't wear them. It did not work out. I've since returned them. That's $150 that'll be back on our card for next month. And then Cloudflare was just a transfer of our domain name to Cloudflare. It was $11. And then normal, um, our normal phone bill. Then we have internet expense, MVP healthcare. There's a NIMRIC $12. That's just for W-2 forms for the beginning of the year. This Primer, Piper, Ingelston, and Kramer, $1,000. That's actually for our rate case. That's our attorney who represents us for our rate case. The total cost of that rate case is probably going to be in the 7,000 range, just to give some perspective. It was not budgeted. I didn't know about it actually until they started work with us. So that's something it's $1,000 in this particular month. $3,000 website development. This was the other half of we put a deposit down. This was the other half of it. And there will be a $1,200 maintenance fee that'll hit us in January. That's a one-time, you do it every year. You pay it once a year kind of thing. It's $1,200. And that one is budgeted. I think everything else is pretty straightforward. There is a second page here. When Mary Lee wrote these on Monday, she had missed a couple that came in after the fact. So I wanted to make sure they were on the warrant. Casella was our normal. VLCT is our annual costs for them to help us to be a member. WW Building Supply, and then Catamount Cleaning. We had the office cleaned on last week. Came and shampooed the rug. It really did a nice job. He did. It was Kendrick Waterman is his name. He did a fabulous job. He came on a Saturday and did a great job. And I for $225. We paid $178 for our last cleaning person who did not shampoo the rug. So I thought it was a pretty good deal.
You notice the difference?
Over the last like 2 days that I've actually been in the office, when I first came in, it smelled really amazing. Like it actually, like you could smell the peppermint
Yeah,
kind of stuff that they had. He did recommend we have a shovel that we keep out here, and he said I should probably get a rug or a boot mat or something for the shovel so that it doesn't drip in. So figure something out with that. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to know, until we have that warmer weather and get that same kind of condition. But it looked pretty good. He moved
maybe
everything.
Friday,
What was that?
Friday.
Yeah. We came in the office. I mean, you could tell he moved everything. He put pads underneath all the individual, the tables and things. He mopped in here. All the chairs were moved for mopping and everything. He did a great job, in my opinion. I was very happy with it. So that's that. And then payroll is just the normal payroll. Just a little bit of a note there. The guys haven't been working a whole lot. Just the time of year, hunting season has been going. There is a project we're working on. I think most of you are aware of it, about moving the three-phase onto the road. We found over in Whitingham Village. We found a way of doing that is much cheaper and much more essentially taking Sawyer Bentwood has a line that already comes in as three-phase and extending it down to Maple Drive. It's only 2 poles. And that actually, Maple Drive already has it for the Sandry fill station. So it's really only 2 poles, and we have three-phase halfway through the village. And then the only other stretch would be from the apartments in the center of Whitingham down to the sewer plant. That part will be done next year, but the guys are going to be working the early next year on doing the Sawyer Bentwood connection just up there, and then we'll figure out the other part later on. So just a heads up, that's something that's in the works. So that right now there's really nothing for the guys cost wise except for Dale's $1,300. But that and then Rod's little bit there as well.
So Linda has her usuals are around in the high threes, and then there's one for $750. Is that 2 weeks worth?
She was sick this month. I have to look at the hours. She works about 23 hours a week.
3 weeks as well. Mary Lee had the same amount of weeks. You had 4 weeks.
I think Linda definitely missed a week. She was out for an entire week when she was sick. Mary Lee.
But Mary Lee's didn't look any different.
What do you mean?
So Linda has 750 for 1 week and 375, 300.
Right.
So I'm just, that's all I'm questioning.
Yeah, I don't know what the sum. Let me just do a quick calculation.
I don't remember her other.
I'm guessing she was making up the time, but I don't remember that. 750. Yeah, so it's like $32 an hour. Well, let's do 750 divided by. Come on. It's a problem. It's on the sheet right in here.
Yeah.
She had a 15-hour week. That week. Seven-hour week. And a 30-hour week. So she had 1 week that she was over the 23 hours.
Just making up time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As I said, she missed an entire week, so
Yeah.
it was, she was trying to make up payments and things like that. So
7. I don't know which one it is.
right,
They're very
they're very close.
close, but it's happening. I don't remember the two.
The week of 12/8 was week of 12/8 was 7.5 and 7.5, so 15 hours. It was Monday and Wednesday. So there was 1 week or 1 day she missed Thursdays. She does Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. So she missed 1 day. So that was a 15-hour week. The one she didn't work. And then this one's 8:45 to 2:15. This is 12/1. We get 12/1.
Yeah, they don't have dates.
Oh, they don't. Oh.
No. Well,
We can look into that a
Yeah.
little bit because I do agree that's kind of weird.
Okay.
I'll take a look at that.
do we have sick pay?
I do. I haven't heard anything from part-time position
Okay.
on that.
I didn't think so. Age.
So we just need a
So-
motion or
Oh,
motion
so we
to-
need a motion to approve payables. First thing that was reviewed. Trying to figure out how to make a note about the lobster payment.
Make a motion that we sign the warrant for the payables and the payroll.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So it's gonna be on the third page for the payables.
We have one to sign.
Just want me to hand around the signing document.
Sure.
You guys have the actual.
Yeah, but if we sign ours, then it's not gonna be.
With a master copy. right?
Yeah,
I see I had one in here, but
yeah.
Yeah.
I photocopied because everybody likes to look at it, but then
Yeah.
they'll only assign one.
Usually don't want signing in the front. Good time.
There you go. Your favorite time of year?
Oh, those are all the write-offs?
Well, my question is what you want to do with the write-offs, but these are the ones that have bounced back to us. Some of the, I don't think there's many to write off this year, to be honest with you.
Okay. And any way to find out their address?
So the new company that's doing our mailing for us, starting this month, has access to the United States Postal Service forwarding system,
Oh,
directly, so they will update the addresses for us. We could try that. I don't know if it's something we're interested in doing or not, but anyway, so I just want to give a little, as I said, this report is a little different than it has been, a little bit different structure. So it has the account, the name, the phone number. This is the current amount due. Aging 1 is 30 days past due. Aging 2 is 60 days past due. Aging 3 is 90 days past due. Aging 4 is 120 days past due. Ignore the note. We haven't updated those. I didn't know they were going to print out on here,
Yeah.
so we didn't. We'll just need to update that. I did go have Linda go through and put stars next to everybody who does have the
contract.
contracts per your request. So that's in here.
Looks like everybody has a,
We have different stars.
I don't know what those stars are yet. I
Okay,
haven't figured
but
that. I think it's how past due they are.
We,
I think the 3 stars are like the 30 days because it
yeah,
looks
but
like
the
it
way the
matches.
report prints, it cuts off.
Cuts off. We might need to move them to the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how the system works with putting a star in front of the.
It'll just change the sort order, which isn't a bad thing, actually. They'll all group together. Might not be a bad way.
Oh,
I was actually trying to sort this by total amount due. So you can have everything that's highest amounts at the top. I'm still working on that. I'm still learning this new software.
I like the summary page you have
At the
at
end,
the end.
yeah, I do too. Yeah, so essentially we have $77,000 outstanding. And your 30 days, 90 days, 60 days delinquent.
into my mailbox, Mike. Am I on this list?
You're not on the list? Yeah.
Okay.
Not until the 25th, then you get added to the list. Yours are small though. You don't ever have that.
Well, I've had that heat pump running, so I don't know what's going on. I can wait to see.
You haven't gone to your mailbox, so
I
you
haven't
can wait a
gotten-
little bit, I guess. So then the next question with this is, so this list does not include people who are what we call dormant. Dormant means they continue to collect interest, but they do not, we know they don't receive mail. So essentially, a good example of a dormant account is John Foote. John Foote is in jail. So we continue to accrue interest on his account, but there's no point in sending him a bill because there's no one to receive it. They're just going to bounce back to us. So dormant accounts are not on here because there's nothing we can really do to pursue it. So dormant accounts are the ones that my understanding is are the ones that we have typically considered for write-off. Is that a true statement? Accounts that it's for the most part people who are not receiving mail. that we consider for write-off?
Um. Ones we know we can't collect.
Right.
If they're not getting the mail and there's no way to get the mail to them. I guess that's another way of looking at it, yes. Oh,
I'm assuming that all of these have had their meters pulled.
Dormant ones?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, the ones that have bounced back this year, I'll just tell you who they are. And you guys can tell me, Nori Emmett. It's 93 Plum Road. I believe she was a tenant of, DJ Pike. Lucy Garvin, who obviously has passed away. So this one, the Lucy Garvin one is tough because we've been told by the daughter she wants to buy the house, and eventually that house will sell. So there's a lien on the property. I would not recommend writing that off. Because there's a lien, the property's eventually gonna have something happen to it, and then we'll get paid. Valerie Sousa was another one. That's where she was. Oh, she was another 93 Plum Road. Another tenant for that. And then Norm and Jen Herzig is another one. Those would kind of be the ones I would consider. I don't know how.
do we have that list in front of us?
I do have not. No, I was hoping to be able to pull them up right here.
That would be,
I know that was one of my tasks for today before I had to do meter readings.
I think we have to have that list in front of us and we actually have to sign it.
Yep. Oh, okay. Oh, because traditionally we've done it as a warrant. That's right. Right? You guys have a warrant that you sign to essentially pay ourselves off that amount.
Right. Yeah, I think is that how that works?
That's
I
how it
just
has.
remember the list and having a list of them. And the last time we did it, I requested that John Foot be removed from that list.
Okay, so let me take that back as a to-do for next month.
Okay.
I don't think it'll affect too much to not do a write-off at the end of the year. Right?
That Bud's the one that remembers the write-off part, or the paying us more in a warrant. I don't remember that.
So traditionally, if we've put a list together of the people that we're gonna write off, and then we vote on it. And then my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, is when that's signed, it then gets,
You're right.
we write a check to ourselves
Yeah,
for that
and
amount.
then you can charge that as an expense. See?
Right.
Yeah.
It's like a debit or credit.
Right. Without writing a check to yourself, it's not an expense anymore.
That's what public service recommended years ago.
Okay. So, as I said, this was one of my to-dos for this week was getting a list together. And doing meter readings as taking priority. So I do apologize. I don't have that for this month.
Okay.
I'll work on it for next month and we'll plan to do write-offs in January.
Will be,
Does that work?
yes.
I don't think it won't affect too much.
We want to pick the auditor.
It shouldn't. The auditors just recommend doing it once a
You
year.
do it this meeting, and that would be cleared up to you by the end of the year.
My problem is I don't have the recommended list to you.
Huh?
I don't have the list of who we should write off.
Oh.
So I have to pull that.
We just did a few of the real there was no way we could collect it, you know?
Right. Right.
Yeah, but he's been reading meters. He hasn't been able to go put that list together. And I'm wondering if we can do a verbal vote and then come into the office when you do have that
Sign the,
and then just sign it. And then as far as the warrant goes, that can be done in January,
This
right?
is the first year, I think. We only had. Last year, I think we had a little over $6,000 to wrote off. Before that, it was around 2,800, 3,000
Yeah,
that we wrote off.
yeah, so we don't know the
the
dollar.
dollar amount. That's the problem, yeah. Let me see if I can find.
So if you prepared that list and we come in at a later time to sign it,
Yep.
would that work to get it in this fiscal year? Our fiscal year is January to December, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah, so we'd have to do it before the 31st. The check has to be written by before the 31st.
Yeah.
Although our auditors probably can make that shift, even if we did it in January.
I just think it's cleaner to keep it in the correct year.
Yeah,
I agree. But the only thing I would say is technically you could write off every meeting. You could do 3 or 4 write-offs every meeting instead of doing it once at the end of the year. There's nothing that says it has to be
But we
done.
haven't done it yet.
We haven't done any this year, right?
no.
So that's the only thing that I was hoping to see if I can find an identifier on this that says it's a dormant account. Don't print paper statement. I'll do some digging, and if we need to do, I know how much we love special meetings, but if we have to do a special meeting, we might need to.
How many do you think you got that we should write off?
Not many.
We
There's
never
not
had
that
too
many.
No.
Honestly, anyone who owns, in my opinion, anyone who owns property, there's no point in writing off the account.
No.
It's only people who rent it or who rent. And there really hasn't been that many who've moved
Or
out.
somebody's passed away, see?
Right. But like Lucy Garvin is an example of somebody who passed away that we have a lien on the property. We'll eventually get paid for it.
Yeah.
You know, eventually it's gonna sell, whether it's the estate or not. One that and actually another one is Beatty. Harley Beatty. The Harley?
he died a long.
Yeah. So that one, so every once in a while, when we pull a meter, when we boot a meter, essentially what we do is we put a piece of rubber on the meter spikes and put it in, and that way the meter doesn't have connection. But every once and so that's how we boot the meter, so no one's using it. Every once in a while, we check on those meters to make sure that
Nobody's
tampered with it.
Yeah.
And that particular house, 2 months ago, we found out was using power. Someone had went through, and so we pulled the meter at that point. And so now there's a balance on that account. But that is a good one that there's no estate. There's no plans to do anything with that property. So I don't know.
Owns the property.
Technically, the bank. And the bank I mean, how many years has it been? 6 years?
Long.
7 years, right? And the bank hasn't taken any action. Technically, they
Wow.
could foreclose and sell it. And the theory is they might, but then they have to open the estate, and they have the liability of opening the estate. And I'm guessing the bank doesn't want to do that. So I have placed a lien on that property as well, in hopes of If it ever does go to an estate, we have made a claim on the property.
So what are we doing about write-offs?
The write-offs, I do not have a list. If that's what we need, I will need to take us,
But what I'm wondering is, can we? So there's no way for you to have a number. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's a way to make a motion
Yeah, I'm trying to do that.
without a dollar amount. Um,
Well, how about put a not to exceed number in there?
you have an idea?
Yeah, and try this for a motion. Make a motion that the trustees sign a warrant for the, what are we calling these?
write-offs.
Write-offs. Not to exceed $8,000. That sound like it
I
would
think-
work?
I think one last year we were off with Booker's over there.
Yeah.
Where's that located?
Thank you.
Well, right across the road from Course Road.
Oh, okay.
There's a young lad in there now has been,
Yep,
had problems, but he's been paying along.
yep,
But
yep.
that was a pretty good size. That was like close to $2,000.
Oof.
We
We
were,
don't have any that big. The highest one is Norman John. And the question is, do we want to write it off or not? That one I don't know.
Oh.
Because I know that one for you, I think is a little bit more of a personal sticking point.
well, he told me that they'd take care of it, but
But we, at this point, we don't have an address to send it to.
I suppose we could write it off. How about that Lindsay Dix?
That's another one we could, but she owns the property, so we could we have a lien on the property.
What do you do?
Yeah, so to me,
She's not there now.
no, she's not, and she's not using power. But I do it with a lien on the property. I just soon keep it until that property sells, in my opinion.
No.
Does that sound like a workable motion?
I think so.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye. So when you have the list change, just let us know. We'll come in and sign.
Fine.
See what?
Yep. And what I'll do is take it to you guys individually before anybody signs it and get feedback.
Okay.
How's that sound? Because technically we can do that as long as there's not 3 or 4 of you in the room.
Yeah. Yep.
Rate case update.
Manager's report.
So for the rate,
Go ahead.
so for the rate case, we have an agenda. If you ever want to look at it, it's right here. I have it printed off. Essentially, it has a completion. I should start off by saying that an investigation has been opened as expected. So they have to put an agenda together of when we're hoping to have everything, all the different meetings. If everything goes standard operating procedure, as long as nothing gets sidetracked, April 11th will be our final, they'll issue the final ruling. You can look through it. There's 12 or 15 different items that need to be done at different times. Some of them are things that we need to do, we meaning our office. Some of them are things that VEPSA has to do, and some of them are things our attorney has to do. And then there are some that the state has to do or the public have to do. Key things that you should know, as for next week, I have some questions I have to answer as well as VEPSA. We have to send essentially our old bills and new bills with the rate increase. We have to send, this is not something I printed for you guys, but you can look at the sheet. So essentially we have to send the two bills. We have to send 5 years worth of expenses. The VEPSA has to send some different narratives about what's going on with certain accounts. We have to explain what the short-term interest expenses, which is actually our VEPSA expense, just so you're aware of the finance charge. We need to forward wholesale pricing and how it's changed over time. We have to show essentially we have to include the expense of the rate case. We have to provide that, show them that what we're paying for the attorney or whoever. We have to provide the audits for last year. We have to provide testimony. This is what I was asking you for, showing that the trustees have hired a business manager, as well as the 3% rate increase. Well, I shouldn't say rate increase, the 3% cost of living adjustment that we did for last meeting. So I have to send those minutes over. And then we have to provide explanation on how we believe that we won't operate on a book loss with a 25% increase. Those are the questions we have to answer. Those are pretty straightforward. VEPSA is taking care of a lot of them, so that's good. Just a few that we have to do. Another one that you guys should be aware of, if you're interested, is as of January 2nd at 7 p.m. is the public hearing. That will be open to any customer who wants to complain about our rates. They are welcome to do it. It will be virtual. I will be in the office at 7 o'clock at night. I'll be in the office here for it. So if anybody does want to come and
They'll be here.
they'll be here. Yeah.
When's that?
January 2nd at 7 p.m.
7 p.m.
And we only had the one customer that I told you about last meeting that has vocalized any concern. And I'll be honest, I haven't had any feedback in the office other than we don't like it, but not surprised. So that's
Probably home on.
it wasn't. It was William Selman up on 8A. I don't think I've ever seen him before. So that's the rate case update. Anyway, it's moving forward. It looks good so far. Nothing too surprising. If anybody does want to see the questions, they're here. There will be a second round of questions that will come out end of January, I believe. So this is one of two. The only thing I would say is there's obviously the possibility that all this gets sidetracked. The schedule is based on a very rigorous plan of what should happen. If the PUC for some reason puts an injunction in place or anything, that could blow up the whole agenda. Hopefully it won't happen. But if they are hearing a customer complain about it and believe that it's worth stopping the rate case because of it, there's a possibility of that. So that's what I have for rate increase. Eldorado is in place. The only people who have not transitioned to Eldorado at this point are solar customers, which is expected. They are still on NIMRIC at this point. Everything's going really well. There's a few things we're trying to figure out still, but for the most part, it's been a smooth transition. There's the one big thing that we have to figure out is how to when customers make payments, when we enter those payments in NIMRIC, they automatically get applied to their account, the proper accounting location. Now that Eldorado is its own thing and not through NIMRIC, that's no longer going to automatically occur. So that means there's manual entries that need to be made once a day, once a month, once a week, something like that. It's recommended once a week that Mary Lee will have to enter. And we're still working on with Eldorado on how to do that. Shouldn't be hard. It's probably 5 entries over a week, but just to make sure that accounting wise everything looks good and doing what it's supposed to. So We were supposed to figure that out last week, and our customer service person at El Dorado had a family emergency that had her out for 3 days last week. So just getting caught up with her now. Finalized budget, we're gonna skip for now. We'll do that next month. Accidents. So we filed Route 100, the Heather Axman Route 100 pole that got broken. That
That
we
was Heather.
Heather Axman,
I misnoticed.
not Xtel. You know who she is.
I think so.
She's a psychologist.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was there.
Mhm.
So so she was going to pay out of pocket. We went through all this. She did not go through out of pocket in the end. She went to her insurance company. We filed with the insurance company. The insurance company, we sent a bill for like 8,400. The insurance company came back and said, we'll approve 7,600 of it. And I said no. They wanted to remove all of my time that has been spent on this. And normally I would say it's not that big of a deal, but I spent many hours on this working with Heather, who kept claiming she was going to she was going to pay it. I mean, I spent hours of time on it. So I'm a little bit, not thrilled about that. So I'm trying to fight it. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but we at least have 7,600 that's going to be approved. Well, by next meeting we should have that.
We submitted an invoice for how much?
I knew you were going to ask for the exact number. Hang on. Which is probably this one's probably not right. No, it's going to be car accidents. MBAs. $8,544.55.
544.55.
Yeah. So it's this $1,424.09 that they're leaving off. Oh, and the joint, they didn't want to pay the CCI joint ownership either, which they have to pay that. That's not. Really, I shouldn't call this administrative support. I should actually bill out the hours, and I didn't this one, and I should have. So we'll see. But the good news is we'll be paid for that. The other one, the Route 100 or Route 112, I've heard nothing. I anticipate that that's done. I don't anticipate we're getting anything. But if you have other ideas, unless you want to go to court, which we can do if you want, but that's the only other thing that I think we could do.
Maybe we ought to purchase a boot for the vehicle.
We don't even know which vehicle it is at this point, which is I know. That's a tough one.
That is because we've actually got nothing to go on.
Nope, because the police didn't do anything. I mean, that ultimately, if the police came and wanted to see the vehicle like they should have, and taken pictures and figured out who the temporary plate was registered to, we might have more information than we do. But they didn't do that, and now we're in our hands are kind of tied. Anyway, so that's what I had for accidents. Outages. We had 2 outages in the month of November. One of them was a townwide outage caused by Green Mountain Power. And the other was on Thanksgiving. We had an outage on Holbrook Road, Lower Holbrook. A tree took out the line in a cross country between Route 112 and Holbrook. There's that cross country stretch. I think it's 4 or 5 poles in there. Tree came down and took out the power. It was only a couple hours worth of work for Green Mountain Power, which is good. I think they said it was 3 hours, 3 guys, or an hour and a half and 3 guys, something like that. So it shouldn't be too bad. But it was Thanksgiving, so it's going to be double time. But Rod, I was out of town. Rod came and looked at it, saw it was in the cross country, and said, "There's no way we're going to fix it."
Up the hill.
Yeah, it's it's real steep. He looked at it and said, "No, we're calling Green Mountain Power," which I think was a good call, and let them fix it.
What was the outage today?
Today was just a flicker, is my understanding, right? I got one call on it. It was a person who said they were out, and then they called right back and said it was back on. So
I got off enough so that showed my
Oh,
clock
did
on
it?
the stove, so I had to reset it. But
I was out.
that was it.
I was reading meters, so I didn't notice anything. And then,
It flickered a couple, 3 times. I said,
yeah, that sounds like
Then
it's.
it stayed on, so it could be in anywhere. You know?
Yeah, it could be. It could be the recloser.
Yeah.
As I said, I only had one call on it today, and it wasn't. It was somebody who shouldn't be calling us anyway, but that's besides the point. It's just somebody who he owns a stretch between where his meter is and his house. He owns it. It's on Merrifield Road. They had a company, the previous owner before him had a company come in and install the power instead of having us do it. So that's not a maintained line. And he's called Green Mountain Power multiple times for outages that were after the meter, between the meter and his house, and that's not our problem. And he's cost us thousands and thousands of dollars for that. So luckily I have him calling here now. At least I can go out and say it's your problem, not ours. Because that's a lot cheaper than going out and power. But anyway.
So, manager's report, we skipped over finalized budget.
Yes,
And-
we'll be doing that in January.
Okay.
Yeah. When I sent out the agenda, I was very much planning to have it for you. And then Richard came in and I saw his face and I went, it's not good.
That broadband, that wire, they run one wire from a small one from one pole to another one. It's not smaller than that.
Oh, it's super small.
Oh, and up by my neighbors there, sag right down to the road.
Oh, really? There's another spot. I saw that too.
I see a guy having coffee, so I told him pick up. He stopped up there and they come up and fix it within
Oh, really?
the end of the day with a truck.
Simpson Hill has the same thing. It's right down to the road.
Sag right down in.
I was sitting there going, some truck's gonna come through and take it right out.
Snow on it.
We'll be getting calls on it.
I know. Well, so the other thing, just so you guys are aware, Consolidated has it's been interesting. There's been people who've had down Consolidated lines, and they call Consolidated and say, they know it's Consolidated's line. They say it's on the ground and come fix it. And Consolidated responds says, you're not a customer of ours. So we're not going to come take care of a line that's not, it's not one of our customers. And so people are getting a little picked off. And so we had one person who called us and said, I've heard this twice now, but I had somebody who called us and they were like, we don't have a bucket truck, like who else, who can we call? And so we went out and did it. I had Rod go out for, 30 minutes of time. I had him go out and just coil it up and put it on the telephone pole. But it's tough because Consolidated's saying they're not touching it. So I just assume cut it. But
I know what did it cost us for us to clean up that
Oh,
PP
yeah.
line around here?
It was 10,000
Yeah.
plus.
10,000, I think one time.
Yep. I think we're gonna have a very similar situation with Consolidated here
There's
soon.
still some lines up the brooks
Yeah, up and over bridges around that.
and across people's lawns.
Yeah,
When they put in, when they put those boxes on the goddamn poles, you know,
Yep.
I told winners that, where was the box with us? I said, make them put some $1 million in escrow. So we
Right.
stuck with them. Oh, no, they'll take care of it, sure.
Yeah. Yep.
Now
They
we
take
got
care
the
of it
box,
until we
but
don't.
they paid the light bill, never paid a bit, one light bill on that.
Yep.
It's never been used, they're
Yep.
still on the pole, we'll have to take them off if they ever come on.
The other one that First Light Fiber is apparently they've essentially told the town and the library and the school that they're not going to be servicing them anymore.
Yeah,
Which is the whole point of First Light Fiber. So I'm curious when they're going to tell us they don't want to rent our poles anymore. And when
have we got any money from them yet?
we've gotten paid, but I'm going to tell them if they're pulling off our poles, they need to come physically take them down, or I'm going to keep charging them. If they're still connected to our poles, they're going to pay for it.
yeah.
So it'll be interesting, but
Moving on,
moving on.
old business.
RFP for auditors. Apparently I didn't realize it, but I put a due date of the 13th of this month, which is I believe Friday. Friday. I did it 30 days after our last meeting, instead of for this meeting. I will tell you, we have one auditor who's gotten back to us. It's our current auditor, with a proposal. I have not heard from anyone else. I shouldn't say I haven't heard from anybody else. I've had 2 companies of the 6 that I reached out to who've gotten back to me and said they're not interested. This is the one auditor that has gotten back to me, expressed interest right away. I anticipate there won't be any other proposals, but I do have to keep it open technically until the 13th. What I would like from the board is that if this is the only proposal, that I can move forward with them, because we should begin the auditing process as soon as possible. I will tell you the prices. I don't want to say them in a public meeting because technically this proposal is still out there. The prices are in this book, and you guys are not going to like what they are. So I will, I'll pass that around. But again, if it's the only company that we, I'll just remind everybody, we paid $17,500 this year for the audit.
Yeah, we did.
And this is a 3-year proposal. I will say that the majority of VEPSA members do use KBS for their audits. So 75% of the the utilities. So and they are good to work with. They're just expensive. But I would like your permission if this is the only proposal that I can move forward with them. If it's not, obviously, then we'll need to regroup and figure out what the next step is on that.
And so prices don't mean much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, is the prices. I never have any problems, I don't give prices,
Right.
People never know till the job's done,
Right.
and I never have problems.
It's nice to see what their plans are, though, because I think we were surprised last year. I was surprised to see the 17,500 that we got billed, because that was not in any way, shape, or form in the budget. But at least now I have a number to budget for, which is not included in my final, my second draft budget. I need it to be. We'll need to be adjusting for that. So it'll just need to be a vote.
Motion that we
Well, yeah,
You like that?
yeah, I guess we'll have to go along with it.
approve, KBS
Like, I want to get tires of cars, they want
proposal,
$16,500.
If no other.
if no other
And it's in people. Very well,
16,000?
1,600,
Oh,
but before winter tires.
for what vehicle?
You want a motion on that?
She made a motion, we just need to second it.
I'll second that motion.
I called them, canceled it. Well,
Say aye.
Aye,
I
thank you.
had some the year before, they were still good. Took them up here to break these.
Second to last thing is, I did have, on my list to have a, RFP together for tree trimming. Again, this month's just been crazy and it has not happened. Rod and I were talking about it. We do plan to work on it next month. So that just as a head, I just wanted to give you the heads up that that's not, here today, but it will be. And then the last thing is just going into executive session. I have one thing to just update you on.
I move we go into executive session to discuss some personnel issue.
Okay,
Second that one.
okay. All in favor?
I
What time? There's,
7:32. So we just need to reiterate that no action was taken during the executive session.
Excuse me.
We'll just reiterating that no action is being taken out of executive session. Nope.
right, I think I did it. We have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay. Motion to adjourn the meeting at 7:33. All in favor?
Aye.